Welcome to another episode of the Growth Focus podcast. My name is Gary Lafferty, your host and founder of the Growth Focus Partnerships, where we help MSP owners and B2B tech leaders build more predictable revenue. Today, I'm joined by Ian Luckett, co-founder of MSP Growth Hub, a coaching organization built specifically for MSP and IT business owners who are good at the tech, but are ready to get serious about running the actual business. In this episode, Ian and I get into what's really driving growth for MSPs right now, why niching down is still the most underused move in the industry, and what it actually takes for a founder to get out of their own way and build something that doesn't fall apart the moment they step back. Now, as usual, no fluff, let's get into it. So welcome, Ian. It's fantastic to have you here on the Growth Focus podcast. Why don't you start off by introducing yourself, tell us who you are and what is it that you actually do?
Thanks very much, Gary, and thanks very much for reaching out and getting me on my show. This is going to be a lot of fun. My name's Ian Luckett from a little town called Luton, just north of London in the UK. And myself and my business partner, Stuart Warwick, we co-found the MSP Growth Hub, which is a coaching organisation that supports MSPs, IT support businesses across the world, helping those techies run successful, profitable businesses. We help them build a business that works for them rather than them for it.
Well, do you know what, Ian? I can't wait to dive a little bit more deeper into exactly what you do and how you help people. But
Good.
Let's just dial it back a little bit. Let's get to know you a little bit more. Just give us a brief background of where you started and how did you get to where you are today?
How did it all start? When I left school, no, we won't go back that far. I left corporate in 2017, had a great career, and very interestingly, couldn't be doing what I was doing today if I hadn't had those scars and those dents and those scratches, back there. So left corporate with one purpose, really, was to run my own business so that I could support my wife and my kids as they were growing up. We've got some special needs in the family and stuff. Because it's easier to run your own business, right? That's another podcast. Anyway, wandered around for a little bit, went into leadership, went into business coaching, and ended up at the pandemic focusing purely into supporting MSPs, managed service providers, and IT support businesses. I was working with some tech businesses, and then it just went deeper and deeper into the managed services. So really picked that niche. Then found my business partner, Stuart, who was direct competition, doing exactly what I was doing, 30 minutes from here. And on his email list, watching his webinars, all this. And he reached out to me and said, hey, and we met up through a community group, which the IT industry is amazing for. Could we have more fun, help more people, change more lives, have a bigger impact if we work together? And I went, don't know about that. Anyway, about 3 seconds later, I thought that'd be pretty cool. And it's amazing, Gary, because the dynamic is that I speed Stuart up and he slows me down. And we are, not two ends of the disc scale, because we're both very, very careful with our clients and care about our clients and people, which is what we do. But in terms of dynamics, I would have been spinning around, and I'm sure we're going to touch on this today. As an entrepreneur, building something doesn't work, build something else doesn't work, build something else doesn't work. Whereas Stuart got something amazing, but it could be so more impactful if there was a lot more speed and a lot more accuracy and kind of, deliberateness around that, which is why, I'm in charge of the kind of the sales and marketing, the face of the business, but I can't do that if Stuart hadn't originally created an incredible, world-class coaching, education, support function that then bolts onto the business development side. So it's good fun. Doesn't feel like work. It's a good laugh. We're working with just over 50 MSP businesses right now in the UK, which actually equates to about 85, nearly 90 people, because we're now coaching their senior leaders, which is amazing. So yeah, got a real good ripple effect in the industry, and loving it. It's great fun, and we're getting some.
Well, I think it's fantastic. You've always got two people, that the yin and yang that really helps in a partnership. My last company was a partnership, and we did exactly the same. We've got one of us who's always pushing it forward, and the other one that's got the product and it's holding it and building that product and service and making it better. Before we go any further, you're into the coaching world.
Yep.
Into the personal development, business development. That is a very murky world out there. There'll be people watching this in the tech world and go, I'm not quite sure about that. why don't we explain exactly what do you do
Yeah.
for MSPs, etc., and what is the problem that you solve for them?
Yeah. So the tagline to the original tagline to the MSP Growth Hub was helping you scale your business with confidence. As a typical techie business owner, most MSPs are probably about 90% of them started off fixing a computer, and before they know it, they're running a £1 or £2 million business with a load of people that they like, but they haven't really organised very well. And life's hard. It's hard work. It's hard work for a number of reasons, because they're not terribly confident in being a business leader. They are being a techie, but not necessarily being a business leader. And as you scale and grow your business, your role changes, whether you like it or not. As you were just, explaining before the call about the 10 rungs of the entrepreneur ladder, when you're at the top and you're looking for your next exciting thing, you're a very, very different person than you were scraping around hoping that the invoices were going to cover your costs at the beginning. And I think self-awareness is a massive factor for MSPs to start helping them build their confidence. But essentially what we do with our clients is we run them through our program and our model. Our MSP scale system model has 9 accelerators training, which are important fundamentals to any business, but we've tailored them specifically for MSPs. So we get a lot of clients who've been with a general business coach, and the general business coach has run out of things to say because he doesn't know the industry. He doesn't understand what problems that are like. If I said to an MSP, right, we're gonna do a presentation at your local Chamber of Commerce. I want you to stand up and talk about this and do this and do it, and they're going to run the other way, right? That's not my happy place. But if I said, to generate some leads, well, let's hold an intimate 10-person private, boardroom table, a nice place in London or something like that, where you can talk as an expert about cybersecurity. Different story altogether. So we know what's going on in the MSP's mind before they've even thought of it, right? Because we work with so many and we work so well together and that. So it's around building that confidence. We build them the frameworks that they can build in their business. And it's amazing to see them grow when they come in as kind of rabbit in the headlights and then becoming, amazing leaders. And we've literally just come off a Q&A about half an hour ago. And one of them said, I'm transformed from where I was a year ago. I'm now much more confident. I'm now much more chilled. I'm now much more deliberate about what I do. And that's winning to us. That's how it works. It's amazing.
Oh, that certainly is winning in. So, and what I really want to delve into, really, that being said, that growth is the key thing here, growth before scalability. When it comes down, you've talked about the growth of the person, growth of the founder, growth of the leader. Let's move to the business side a little bit. Yep. What is actually driving growth in the way you see things at the moment? What is actually driving growth in the MSPs right now, including sort of lead gen and sales that most MSPs do tend to find a bit hard? They're not salespeople. They're not marketeers by nature. They're very much, the developers, the engineers, the coders and whatnot. Yeah. So when it comes to putting themselves under the spotlight, as it were, it's not really their forte. It's not really their wheelhouse. Right. If they're all listening here today and what would you say in 2026 is actually driving growth for MSPs? Right?
I think, when I look at our high growth MSPs, of which I'm going to say we've probably got about 7 or 8 in our program. What are they doing, right? If that's the question, what are they doing? They are being deliberate. They're trusting the process. They're having faith in themselves and their teams. But more importantly, they know who they're serving. They're not just putting out managed services and selling to everybody for £30 or $30 or whatever it is. They're getting involved in these businesses. And yes, AI, oh my word, yes, it's amazingly transformed our business and help us, develop things quicker and faster and better as it would be. But AI doesn't necessarily build the processes that an MSP works on. An MSP has to have the fundamentals of great team, a great sales and marketing engine, a good operation system, SOPs, and then you can put AI on top of it. But I see so many people right now who are looking at AI, the shiny ball. I need this, I need that, and it's not going to work because they're going to get even more distracted than they would do already. So what are they doing? They're investing in their people, they're investing in themselves to start with, in their own personal development, and going, do you know what? I might not know anything, might not know everything I need to know to do this properly. I'm going to go and find out. And I'm going to go and find out what the successful people are doing. So they're going to events, they're coming towards us. They might be, downloading some stuff and reading and watching what's going on. They're building amazing teams so that they can let go of the branch, holding on to the technology, because there's this massive fear that I'm the only one who can fix this problem as well as it needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Well, shocker, you're not. And if you keep doing that, then you will stay a certain size. As soon as you realize that good is good enough, and if somebody can do your job to 80% of the quality and the speed and the accuracy that you're going to do, that's a really great place to be, But it's having the confidence in doing that. And we're no different, right? We eat our own dog food all day long, because it's like, well, hang on a minute, have we done this and have we done that? And it was, we check in on ourselves all the time. Have we had one-to-ones with the team this month and all this sort of stuff? So, trust in yourself, trust in your team, clear processes, because the processes, the scalability of an MSP is driven by the efficiency and the ability for the MSP owner to not be in the business. So what we call ONN, owner not needed. One of the biggest things is people will come along and they go, well, they only offered me, 1 or 2 multiplier on my EBITDA for an exit. And I'm going, yeah, but you are the heart of the business. If you walk out of that business, the thing falls apart. You need to be out of that business. One of the, we've just done some work with our clients on the 10 key factors to multiply. And we've had, one of our clients last year, he got a 8 times multiplier, which was incredible. But the reason he got it was because he built these foundations. So literally he could just walk away and someone could come in, run the business, operate it, enjoy the profit. The team are happy, the culture's happy. It's all a good fit. And those are, at the end of the day, that's what we're really doing, is we're helping them build a business that's profitable, but using those systems to embed so that the business runs on its own.
And I think that's the key thing is, and it's that we hear time and time again that founders are not letting go. And I love that phrase of, that they're not needed. And that's the key thing. Otherwise, it's just like selling your house if you're still living in it.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot live in the house if you want to get the best value for it.
No.
And the business is exactly the same. It's an asset. But that being said, we still see founders of $5 million, $10 million, $20 million companies still doing founder-led sales to a degree.
Yeah.
And, but they've almost kicked marketing to the touchline and got rid of it as quick as they possibly can. How is founder-led marketing content? How important do you actually see that in a way that feels human and credible for the founder, that allows them to be comfortable in doing something like that?
Yeah, so a great question. And so what happens is someone comes along and they sell a bit of kit and they've got a business. And they build these relationships with people and they keep selling. They don't know they're selling and they're building a business, up to £1 million, and everything, as you say, is founder-led. And then someone says, we need to really accelerate this. We need to do some sales and marketing. And the founder generally goes, oh, it doesn't work. It takes too long. It costs too much money. I'm not doing it. And then a big project will come in, or they get a big referral and they'll go, told you so. And then they'll bubble along and then they'll get to 1.5 million. And eventually, after 20, 25 years, they will get to where they want to be. But it will be a bit of a mess and they might not get that valuation they need. The marketing side of things is, it's really hard. And we're amazing friends with a guy you may know, Paul Green from the MSP Marketing Edge. He's got some great content to help them get it up and running, to help them to work on what's going on and what's not going on. But with marketing, you've got to get started, because it can take 18 months for someone to start to realize, to know, like, and trust you and your brand and how that works. And when you get the sales and marketing working, you'll be closing, or even when you're starting to get it working, 2 things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to start closing at a higher rate. Now, MSPs are pretty good at closing when someone comes in as a referral anyway, right? But that's even at a higher rate. We have a client in London. He's literally 4x'd his business in 3 years. He's in a niche. But he's now, if he closes anything below 90% of a referral, he's kicking himself. And then moving on the other side of the coin, he's out there and he's doing keynotes and he's doing educational pieces around this particular niche. And now people are starting to move towards him on, from the bottom of the funnel it would be. But that's taken 12 to 18 months. MSP services is like any professional services. You've got to be that trusted person. They don't know what they don't know. Just because you know how the tech works, they haven't got a clue. They don't even know why they need it. And they don't care. But they just want you to keep them safe, keep them up and running, keep things moving, and have their back when things go wrong. That's kind of it. And the trick is the MSPs take a long time to get around that language, which is the marketing language, rather than, everybody needs Cyber Essentials and everyone needs Office 365 and we're going to get this back up and that PSA and yes, you need this. And they're going, yeah, I'm out. Just what you're talking about, So the key to the marketing side of things is getting started, building a team. I'm very much a fan of building a team. The only person who can really market an MSP properly is that founder. I get it. But if you then take it to an agency or you take it offshore and you let them, to direct the strategy of it, it's going to be a challenge. You need someone within your business who's going to be saying, hey, we've got this event coming up, or hey, we've just had that great case study with that client. We need to maximize that, or hey, we need to be doing that. Need somebody within the business to operate that, that sales and marketing director piece to keep it cohesive. And then have a team around you who are expert in what they're doing. I mean, we've just got off a call earlier on today with our team around some ads that we were doing. My mind is blown on what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing. I really want to get involved, but I know that I can't, because while I can't, it's going to be the other time that's not important. So getting started with the marketing, trust in the process, because that will be the fuel that will turbocharge the business when you move forwards. Because if you think about it like this, if you get all your systems and process in place, you get good culture, and then you go and acquire another MSP. They slot in. One of the biggest problems with acquisitions is when the culture doesn't fit, and you end up then being, dad at work as well as at home, because you're trying to organise all these kids who are just fighting all day long. So once you've got that alignment in place, but if you've got a sales and marketing engine to a brand new fresh MSP that's not doing sales and marketing and you've just bolted it on, how powerful is that? That you're going, rocket speed. So not only have you grown by the acquisition, but then your growth is just going to really accelerate, because you then put that process on top. And that's where people, miss out on the golden opportunity around getting that sales and marketing working properly. And I'm not talking about SEO and pay-per-click and all of that stuff. It helps, but I don't know many people who would click on a button and buy managed services. You need to use it as part of a strategy, around the education piece, which is so important, rather than just if I throw a couple of grand at this a month, is this going to get me some clients? It might. They might not be very good clients. And I could go on about sales and marketing all day. Sorry, Gary.
No, that's all right. But there's so many nuggets there. I just want to sort of dissect a few in there for people who are listening, because you gave so much insight in there, Ian. But obviously things like you said, people are trying things and they throw it against the wall. It doesn't work. Oh, webinars don't work. Seminars don't work. This doesn't work. Email marketing doesn't work. And the truth is, they all do work if you have the right strategy for them. And I love what you said there again earlier about the educational piece about it. One of the things we're hearing all the time, and no doubt you hear this as well, is that they're really struggling to get their message heard, to build trust, because everyone is saying they're expert. Everyone, and quite frankly, they are experts in their field. But if everyone's saying they're expert, then really no one is. And it's getting harder and harder for the buying market out there to say, do you know what? I trust you. Like you mentioned that earlier, no, like and trust. I trust you. You're the one I should be doing business with, because they're very quickly to tune out. They tune out very, very quickly because everyone sounds the same. With that being said, then, Ian, what would you say for those who are listening to say, right, if you're going to do one thing to stand out above your competition,
go into a niche.
What would that be?
Get into a niche, infiltrate a business sector without a shadow of a doubt. Every single call, not every single call, but many of the calls that I have with prospects coming into the Growth Hub, they say, we've tried marketing, we've done this, we've done that. I said, let me ask you one question. Why are you talking to me rather than a general business coach? And they said, because you focus specifically on my business, so you'll know how it works, marketing, sales, leadership, and all that in my business. I said, cool, do that. And then they go, do what? I said, Pick a niche. And, most MSPs have come from corporate in some area, some way, shape or form. So there will be a backpack with banking or logistics or hotels or whatever it might be on the back of it. You've got experience in understanding that business sector. Go and find out. Go and get in the room where they are. Go and educate, keynote where they are. Go and see what events they're turning up to, because you've got such an opportunity, because MSPs are scared to death of doing this. So that's why they sit there and they talk about the vanilla ice cream. It's the same thing. So if you go and get a bit of Neapolitan, although that's probably a little bit of an old phrase now, Rocky Road ice cream, and you go out there and do something different, people are going to sit and look at you. And if you can then attribute the value that you provide in your business to them making money, saving money, or growing their business, you're winning. You're absolutely winning. So go and fish in a different pond. Go and find your target market who get what you do, who understand technology and know that they need it as a driver to drive their growth, and listen to them and ask them some simple questions. What is it? Your clients. What is it that we do to help you? Oh, you provide Office 365. Wrong answer. Go deeper. And what does that help you do? And what does that help you do? And keep going until they literally kick you out, because the last thing they say is the thing you put in your marketing, because that's the bit that makes the difference in their business that you probably don't even know about.
No, exactly. And this is the key thing. They all complain that, there's such a red ocean out there and there's more and more people coming in.
Yep.
And, but, I love what you're just saying there, Ian, is then don't find the blue ocean, create one. Just go out there and find what is your low-hanging fruit. What do you have experience with? And I love the analogy of the backpack. Take it out, look in there and go, this is what I know. Where's my low-hanging fruit?
Yeah.
We can't have a podcast session on tech without talking about AI. It's just everywhere. And we don't want to get too involved in the AI side, but AI also now is muddying the waters. There is automated outreach all the time, which people are just tuning out of now. So there's automated social, there's AI social media. It's completely different to doing in-person, like you say, in-person keynotes, in-person events, educational events. When it comes to AI, what should MSPs be, in your opinion, be focusing on and ignoring?
I think it's a great question, and I think the key thing that MSPs need to be seeing with AI is how can it make their business provide a better service, become more efficient, and stand out from the crowd. Not necessarily using AI. You're telling people that they're using AI. We're engaged with some consultants who are absolutely using AI. I don't care, because what they're providing us is unbelievable. You couldn't think, and AI helps you think and do quicker. It is going to change the landscape, and it is going to probably eradicate first-line support. But to be frank, first-line support, probably 25% of the members of the Growth Hub, first-line support is actually done by an admin person who's not even technical. And when you look at that side of things, because I want my technical people to do technical things so that they can learn and grow, and then learn about AI and learn about how it can help our clients and things like this. So I think the number one thing is be really, really careful. It's a bit like the cybersecurity thing, wasn't it? 2 or 3 years ago, you go to an event and there'd be 50, 60 cybersecurity vendors. And if you asked them why they were different to someone else, they wouldn't be able to tell you, because they don't know, because they're there just to sell shit, right? But with AI, it's looking at how it can help your business. Now, at the minute, I still believe most of the AI that's really going to make a difference is still sitting in your systems and the vendors who are using it. Like your PSAs and your RMMs and all of that kind of great stuff, which I think is great. So I think, is there an immediate need for MSPs this year to go and get AI, buy a bucket load of things that does that? Probably not. I'd still just watch the landscape and look at what's going to help you. We just had some of our clients go through a course with someone on how to sell Copilot to their clients, and it wasn't just to sell the licenses; it was to sell the concept of how AI can help their business improve. So loads of people are going, "Yeah, I can sell Copilot licenses now, just like I did with my Office 365." Well, if you did that, you're dead in the water, because you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not looking at the proper lifetime value and where this is going to go. And if you remember what happened at the beginning of the pandemic, MSPs, it was a great place, right? Because, unless you had a few clients that went pop, because you became their technical expert. Whether you wanted it or not, they were ringing you up when their Ring doorbell didn't work, and they're ringing you up when their Wi-Fi didn't work, and they're ringing you up because you're the only one who knows anything about this. And you need to get yourself into a position where, watch the landscape on AI, use it internally yourselves, and then promote it to your clients on how to develop their businesses and help their businesses become more efficient. And that would be a good, that'd be a good use of that time this year.
Yeah, that makes total sense, Ian. So let's talk about that change. Let's talk about that time when the founder suddenly realizes, do you know what? I do need to step up. I do need to step out of this red ocean. In your experience, what is the moment an MSP founder usually reaches that point and says, do you know what? I need to pull the big boy pants up now. I need to grow up. I can't just keep getting drowned here.
Bloody hell. If I had the answer to that question, Garrett, you would be talking to me on my yacht in the Bahamas. It's rock bottom. And I don't know what it is. There is some MSPs have this ability to endure pain for a long, long time. We've had people come towards us who haven't had a holiday in 17 years. They're scraping, embarrassing profits, because they've just been too nice about the whole thing, and there'll come a point, and what we're seeing is that generally when you get, to a really good age, around 50, you'll suddenly look at the landscape and you go, whoa, hang on, there's less in front of me. There's a pretty good chance there's less in front of me than there is behind me. And I need to be a bit more deliberate. And they'll look at their pensions, they'll look at their money, they'll look at the valuation of the business, they'll look where it's gone, and then they'll go, eek, I need to do something. So that's one thing that we see. Another thing is that we talk about the exit multipliers. One of the key ones is around a client concentration. So many MSPs have one large client consuming 30, 40, 50% of their turnover. It's great while they're growing, but just, that should not be. To get a good multiplier, that needs to be under 10%. We just recently had a client, unfortunately, 6 months in to the program. He had two clients on one day. I mean, how bad luck is this? He had two clients on one day, his biggest and his second biggest client. No contracts in place, not even a 30-day contract in place. And they haven't pulled the plug, as in literally stop the work. But within the next month, it'll be gone. 60% of his turnover just gone like that, And you just want to hug the guy and just go, if you'd have done, it's easy to say it, right? If you've done your contracts and you've got the service agreements in place, so there's a position where some people know that that's going to happen in the next year or two, and they move in to try and protect that. And there's some people where they're already at rock bottom. We get quite a few. It's just fed up with it, just done with it. I'm just bored of it. I'm just not interested. I've fallen out of love with it. I don't really like the people. They're a pain in the bum. The clients are all right sometimes, but they're a bit of a pain in the bum as well. And they go to sell it and they realize again, it's not worth anything. So you kind of got no choice. You either give it to someone or you knuckle down, put your big boy girl pants on, bloody well get on with it and, really get deliberate about what you want. And I think that comes to the point, Gary, about the first thing that we do with all our clients is what's the vision? What's your 3 or 5 year plan? What does winning look like? What does arrive in what we call the MSP journey look like? They've never thought about it before. And once you've got that North Star and you know where you're going, it's a lot easier to build a plan around it.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, doesn't it? And we've talked about this before here, where people just think, I'll just shut the door, turn the lights off, shut the door, walk away. And, and sometimes you have to do that if you're on rock bottom.
Yeah.
But generally you don't if you've thought about it a few years ahead of time and start putting those SOPs in place and make it, and actually turning this into an asset.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have one last loaded question for you, Ian. It's always a loaded question. I ask all my guests this loaded question or versions of it. If there was a founder or a leader of an MSP listening to this and, they're thinking, okay, what is the one thing I can do in the next quarter to make the change, to break the bonds that are holding me back? What would that be and why?
Identify where you want to go and what's in the gap, right? And obviously I'd love everybody who's listening to this podcast who's an MSP to phone me today. However, if you get any support, if you've never had support in growing your business, no one teaches you this stuff at school. You don't have to go through business school to run a business, particularly an MSP. So for everybody out here today, and it will be different for everybody, because regardless of all the different groups and the different support that's out there, it's not always a right fit. Not everybody's a right fit for, for us and other people. So where do you want to go? Get real clear, definition of done. What does finished look like for this? I want £3 million in the bank. I want to have recurring revenue of this. I want whatever it might be. And then understand where you are today, because, by the way, understanding where you are today is probably the biggest challenge, because most MSPs don't know where they are today in terms of their finances and everything like that. And then look at what's in the gap. And then how, does that look like acquisition? Does that look like, account management? What's in the gap? And then go and find an expert who's been there, seen it, done it, and has helped people through that, and just gather information and what you need to do. But, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling at rock bottom and you've just about had enough, just get some help. Before I left corporate, I worked in the utility industry. If we did in the utility industry what they do in the IT space, which is collaborate, go to events, have peer groups, all of this stuff, there'd be bodies everywhere. There'd be dead people everywhere, because that industry does not collaborate. Okay. And I feel so grateful, and I mean that, from the bottom of my heart, to be able to make a difference in this industry for MSPs who come to you and say, look, you have transformed my business and my life. And it's like, that's worth getting up for, and we do it. And there's loads of other people out there right away across the world who help MSPs. So go and get some help.
That's brilliant, Ian. And a great place to finish this particular episode on. Ian, if people want to get hold of you, chat with you, get some advice from you, what is the best way they can do that?
The best thing to do is get onto LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn, Ian Luckett. You'll find me on there, or hit the MSPGrowthHub.com website. There's a place we can have a chat. There's loads of resources on there. We've got a buyer's guide. So if you've decided to grow your MSP, you don't know which way to turn, go and download that, and it will give you loads of different options. And obviously one of them is us, but obviously one of them may not need to be us, depending on where you're at in the journey. But, happy to talk, happy to chat, and just mention the podcast as well. That'd be great.
I'll get my team to put your link in the show notes. So it's just a one click and then get straight to it.
Great stuff.
All leads me to remain, Ian. Thank you very much for your time today, sharing your expertise and your insights. I'm absolutely confident there'll be people picking up loads of nuggets from that.
No problem at all. And thank you very much for the opportunity, Gary. And good luck with the podcast for this year as well.
And likewise. I'll speak to you soon, Ian. Cheers.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Cheers now.
Something that Ian said that stuck with me. He talked about MSPs who know they've got one client that generates 40-50% of their revenue, and they just live with it until it doesn't, until that one day that client is gone. And at that point, it's not a strategy problem anymore. It's a crisis. And that's exactly the kind of thing we look at in the revenue leak audit. It's a free 30-minute call, no pitch, no deck, just a straight, honest look at where revenue is slipping out of your business after the lead comes in. Pricing gaps, client concentration, handoff issues, that kind of stuff doesn't show up until it's already cost you and your business money. Now, if that sounds useful, the booking link is in the show notes. So that's it for this episode. Send it to one person who would find it useful. Until the next time, all the very best. Keep profitable. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.